Celia Kibler.
And I'm Dr. Kailey Buller.
Welcome to Raising Eyebrows. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Raising Eyebrows. We are going to raise our eyebrows today about play and the importance of play and the importance of even risky play, because so often people think that play is like nonsense. Oh, it's like a filler for time, but the important stuff is like, let's get this worksheets done and let's get these things done. And they don't even value what is so incredible about play.
Well, and it seems to shift. That's the thing that it's like people seem to think play is so important up to age 2, 3, 4. And then suddenly we get into this structured school-based system and we forget how important play is, even for like adolescent kids, like even older
and grown-up kids,
still,
right?
And grown-up kids, it's still very important. Yeah,
exactly. So that's what we're talking about today with Celia and Dr. Buller. And we're going to discuss this. And as you listen, guys, always remember, if you've got questions, you can send them to us. If you found this helpful, you can share it. But let's talk about play at all ages, including you. You as a grown-up should be playful. You should have fun. Life's supposed to be fun. No one's getting out of here alive, so you might as well have a good time while you're doing it. And why did you have kids? To be miserable or to have fun? So let's talk about it.
Let's dive in. Yeah, I think, and I want to start really with talking about what risky play actually means, and play in general. I mean, we obviously know what play is, but play can include educational experiences that are fun, right? But when it comes to risky play, like we've become a generation, especially my generation, and I think the one after me, like we're terrified of playgrounds, right? We have, there's the black spongy stuff or the mulch stuff or the gravel stuff, but the concrete stuff, like when you think about what playgrounds used to be, people would skin their knees and scrape their palm, like they would fall. And now we have all these kids who they don't know how to fall. And I know that sounds crazy, but it becomes so big a deal to fall. And if it's physically falling is so terrifying for them, how are they going to learn how to get back up when it's an emotional fall, a mental fall, right? So it's not only just about the physical growth and the gross motor and fine motor skills for kids. It's about everything, emotional development and resiliency, right?
Absolutely. Think of when I was a kid. So I am almost 70. So when I was a kid was many moons ago. I mean, we used to go in the gym, in our gyms in school, and we would climb a rope. They want you to climb very high. I had the great ability of climbing maybe a foot off the ground because I was not very good at climbing ropes. But under the rope, that was what? I don't know, 9 feet off the ground was a little mat. Not even a thick mat, not like the mats they have today, this little canvas. I bet it wasn't even an inch thick. So if we fell, we would probably die. I mean, I'm not sure, become permanently paralyzed. But that was what was under the rope, a mat. And the gym teacher would hold the bottom of the rope, and would they be able to catch you if you fell? No. And
well, and certainly nowadays, there'd probably be some union rule about them not being allowed to catch the kids or something.
Exactly. Right? Goodbye. Sorry, I couldn't catch you on your way down. And we had those horrible, oh my gosh, our playgrounds. Like, don't get me started, but everything was made of metal. Everything. You burned your butt coming down the sliding board. It was the most painful experience in summer. And we had those spinny things. Have you ever seen these things that they were like the vomit wheel? So you would climb on and hold on. Everyone had a bar and it would spin around really fast. And if you didn't fly off, you would throw up. I did both, of course, because I was just so graceful as a child and now as an adult. But like none of this like cushy, mushy stuff.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because there's one little piece of playground equipment at my son's school, and I'm on the parent council as well, of course. Why wouldn't I be? And we're talking about potentially getting some new playground equipment for the school, particularly stuff that is not only accessible for the physically handicapped, but also people with, sensory needs, etc. And what's come up over and over again is that the most popular piece of playground equipment on that playground is the little like egg chair that spins.
Yes.
They love it. It's the most used. It has the highest, injury
Risk.
rate because they'll come out of that thing and they'll, go flying off or they'll tumble down. But it's the most fun. They love it, and so we're definitely not taking it away. I can say that much.
Because risk is fun. It's like I was in my preschool and I teach kids fitness in preschools. And it was the fourth grade class and the dad was there because this is a co-op preschool where dads come. And I'm like, okay, guys, we're going to play a new game because I hadn't taught them. I taught the 5-year-olds, but not the 4s. We're going to play dodgeball. And the dad kind of looked at me like, we're playing dodgeball? And I'm like, and you're going to love it and it's fun. And I said to the dad, they take away all these great games and dodgeball is super fun. And I play with beach balls. I mean, how injured can you get by a 4-year-old throwing a beach ball? There's not a lot of risk. They love it. I was going to play 2 rounds. They wanted to play 3. We wound up playing 4 rounds of dodgeball. It was almost the whole class. And I said to the dad, instead of banning these great games, because you will get hurt if you take a playground ball or a basketball and you throw it straight on in someone's head, chances are they're going to get hurt. But you can also adapt the balls to the game. You can still play dodgeball and not play with a playground ball or volleyball or whatever other hard destructive ball there is and still have fun. There's so many balls out there. Again, a game that a lot of school districts have deleted from the world, dodgeball. Super fun.
Yeah. And it is really interesting how things have developed. I mean, when we think about correlation and causation, like I can't say for certain that us protecting our kids has made them more anxious, but there's definitely a correlation there. When you think about the free radius, and free radius is something that describes how far kids are allowed to roam unsupervised.
Right.
So it used to be, that as long as you're within shouting distance, or it doesn't matter where you are, as long as you come back when the sun starts to set, right? Like parents would just let their kids go.
Goodbye.
Right.
When it gets dark, that's when you come home.
Yeah. And when we were kids, it was, playing as long as we stay within this radius of streets, right? Like this kid lives on this street, this kid lives on this street, this one lives here. As long as we're within that, neighborhood, we're fine. And I think that a lot of parents now, you need to be in eyesight, right? So the free radius has shrunk about 90% from what it used to be a couple of generations ago. And children's anxiety levels have increased dramatically. And I don't have a percentage in my brain, but they've increased dramatically. And again, I don't know for certain that's like, it's not the only contributing factor, of course.
But it is definitely a contributing factor.
But it is because children learn through experience. And if they're not experiencing, reasonable stress, like we're not going to go out and purposefully stress them out, but small stresses during play, they won't know how to manage the bigger ones. Like they won't have the foundation for it. So even things like rough and tumble play, right? Like wrestling between boys. We try very hard not to do that.
That's like a good little aspect fathers throw in.
Absolutely. Yeah. My parent, I don't wrestle with my kids, but my husband will.
Right. That's what dads are for.
But I mean, we talk so much about, like we're hands off, we don't hit, like, and I agree, obviously we shouldn't be hitting, but the playful banter that happens through wrestling with other kids, that actually improves their understanding of physical boundaries,
Correct.
of consent, of like, it actually makes it better for them and easier for them to understand learning through play.
Right. They learn everything through play. They learn you can make play. If you want to teach your child to count, you want to teach them numbers, there's all kinds of things you can throw out there. How many cars are there? Line up your cars. Let's count the cars. You can do counting, you can do letters, you can do leadership. They learn physical abilities, cognitive abilities. It's like an endless list of what they learn, but they don't learn it if play is always structured and always directed. That's what I was trying to think of.
Hmm.
Always
Hmm.
direct. Do this. Do this. Step one. Step two. Step three. Not that that's not okay, but
Hmm.
that's not okay all the time. When I lead a class, my kids' class is in nursery school. It is there is a structure to it. There's a routine. We're playing game one. We have circle games. We have movement games. We have aerobic games. I mean, it is structured in that way. But the game itself is not always you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. It's just playing,
Hmm.
and having fun and giving them the freedom of choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to give them that flexibility. And this is the other thing too, is when you give kids room to make their own games, then they learn to make their own rules, right? So if you say go play, they're
I'm
very
laughing
quickly
because it's exactly what I was thinking to talk about next. Go
like
ahead.
they're very quickly going to learn that no, it's not fair if this person plays this game this way and that's not fun for the rest of us. So then they start to work as a team, as a community to build these universal laws like don't hit, don't cheat, don't lie, because it's not fun for the rest of us,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And then they learn to function within those boundaries and they can understand the boundaries a little bit better.
Right, which teaches them problem solving and conflict resolution. And
Right.
even if you want your child to be more resilient, I get this a lot with parents. They get very upset. They don't get the blue one, they
Hmm.
throw a tantrum.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
don't let them get blue all the time. Often we avoid the
Yeah.
tantrum and feed them the blue one, the blue piece, the blue hoop, the blue ball, the whatever. But also give them the opportunity to change things around a little bit. When my grandkids were little, we used to play Go Fish all the time. And Logan decided that we were going to change the game to 3-9. And 3-9 was only threes match nines, only nines match three. All the other cards match their number.
That's
And
funny.
he thought of that. And it was like, and
Mhm.
I was like, great, let's play 3-9. Then we call it 3-9.
Yeah.
Basically, Go Fish, except with that little twist. And
Mhm.
that also helps teach them resiliency and flexibility,
Yeah.
all things that
Yeah.
they need to know to grow up.
Hmm. Yeah, and a very similar story actually. My son recently we were visiting my parents, and we were playing a game where you have like these little Play-Doh bugs, and you go around. It's called Splat, and you go around, and if they land on a certain
Cute. And you
square, you
splat
splat
them.
them. Yeah, and then you have new
And they're
bugs that have to go around the board.
Play-Doh. Oh, this is so
It's
fun. I have to
it's
get this.
so fun. And so he said, "Okay, no, this time that we play, let's do it this way," because he wanted to experiment with how would the game change if I changed this rule.
Yes.
And that we were like, yes, let's do that. So now the first square counts as two. Or, if somebody's already on this square, you can land on them and squish them when you land on them, whereas before you had to skip them, right? Like, so we would change the rules and see how things worked. And what was really interesting, and I don't think this probably just happened by happenstance, but every time we played it in a different way, a different person won, which I thought was really, so he was like,
I
oh,
love
like
that.
you won when we did this way and you won when we did it this way. Maybe you're
So
better at doing
cool.
it this way. And seeing all those connections from us playing a really simple game
Yeah.
just a few times, right?
And, I can hear a parent, because I've heard so many of them, say to me, oh, that wouldn't be a good game because now you're teaching kids to smash bugs.
Oh,
Like I can see that being an
mm-hmm.
immediate reaction.
Yeah,
That's where limits and boundaries come in, guys. We splat Play-Doh bugs, but we don't splat ones that are crawling around outside. That
right.
just teach. Like we play with balls inside, we don't play with them. No,
Right.
wrong way
Absolutely. And
around.
we have this,
We
so
play
right. So
with
we
balls
are allowed
outside,
to,
not inside.
we do not throw things in the house unless you're in your playroom and there's nobody, like you can't throw it at a person. But
Right.
I've given them, and that's another weird thing about risky play that I've given them. So their playroom downstairs, that's their room. And if they want it to stay in good shape, they have to take good care of it. But if they want to throw something at the walls and risk damaging the wall, they're allowed to, which terrifies so many parents because they're like, you let them throw things at the wall and draw on the wall? Yeah, I do, because then they have to deal with it. Now there's a hole in your wall. Now there's stuff on your wall, or now this toy
Right.
is broken
They
because you
certainly
threw
learn the
it.
consequence from
They,
doing it.
they do. And so
And
you
not
feel
everybody has a room like that. But if
right.
you do, great. Then, it gives them a little like hands on lessons.
Yeah. Well,
not
and the
just
other
a
one that
warning. You know,
we
if you
have
do
upstairs
that,
in
it's
our
going to make a hole in the wall.
right. And upstairs we have a play mat, and then I love this play mat. It's like one of the gym mats like, that you fell
Right.
from the rope onto. We have one of those in the living room. And same thing, like all the mess is contained there. And if they want to smash a toy, they do it on the mat. Right? Like so we have these physical boundaries where they're allowed to do different things because I think that that's a good, valuable learning experience. And if the toy breaks, now they've learned.
Right. Right.
And we're not going to go out and immediately buy them a new one, obviously.
You know, there's so much that we prevent our children from learning because we're too busy doing for them or telling them
Mm-hmm.
what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that also takes away their ability to become responsible children.
Mm-hmm.
Not just children that are not afraid of everything, but also children that become responsible.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, don't worry about this, I'll do it for you. Don't do this, I'll do it. If you do this, this is going to happen. If then you don't give them any chance to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's great about failure. You know, it just, like you said, they throw something at the wall downstairs, there's a big hole in their wall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now, guess what you can teach them? Drywall. You can
Right.
teach them
We're going to do other things. And
a new skill that they can use in the future.
yeah. And what's really funny is like one, we've never had any holes in the wall because they don't want a hole in their playroom wall. Like they're
Right.
like, oh, I don't want that. And even recently, my 3-year-old, they've been jumping on her bed a lot, and I'm like, you're allowed to jump on the bed. By the way, jumping on the bed, like I know kids fall off the bed and bump their heads, but like unless you're worried about the mattress, let them jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Anyways,
it's a pretty big surface to trim it.
yeah.
They want to jump, give them places to jump, even if you buy a trampoline, a mini tramp.
Yeah. And we used to have the mini one downstairs. But so, anyways, they were jumping on the bed upstairs. And I said, you guys can absolutely jump on the bed if you want. I just want to let you know that you will eventually make the mattress super squishy. Like it will lose all of its support. And my 3-year-old went, Lucas, stop jumping on my bed. Like she was like, I want my mattress to stay the way it is. And so she drew that line. We're like, okay, it's Ellie's bed, Ellie's rules.
Yeah.
And so it is interesting that they can understand that. And I never said don't jump on the bed. I just said, just so you know, it's totally up to you, right? But this might happen.
Right.
And then she gets to decide.
Right. And that they learn to think before they choose. Ultimately, you know, like we've said before, everything in life is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
But if we make choices for our kids all the time, they never learn to consider a choice. Is this choice good for me or not good for me? They never learn that. This way, you're like, okay, if you jump on the bed, this is what will result.
Mm-hmm.
Make your choice. You
Yeah.
don't care about a mushy bed? Jump away.
Yeah.
You want it firmer? Don't jump.
Don't jump.
Find
Yeah.
somewhere else to jump.
And something that I want everyone to keep in mind, when we talk about risky play in particular, it doesn't mean sending your child out to go do dangerous things. Like there's a difference between dangerous and risky. And depending on the level of risk, your presence there is also welcome, right? So
Right.
I remember this one post, I saw it on Facebook because a mom had posted, should I say something to the daycare about this? Because it was a photo of her probably 2-year-old at the time on this rock, big rock. And it was probably about 2 feet high, maybe 3 or 4 feet in diameter. Like it was a big rock, kind of uneven. And she was holding a stick. And the mom was like, I can't believe they let her climb up on that rock with that stick because if she falls off, she could poke out her eyeball. Right? And
We
we were
all
like,
poked out eyeballs with sticks.
and we're like, yeah, you don't want to mess around with the eyes. I get it. I get why you would be worried. But think about it for just a second. You're looking at a picture of your 2-year-old. Somebody
Right.
was taking that picture. Somebody was standing right there and was obviously close enough and paying attention enough to have thought, this is cute, I'm going to take a picture. So that person was right there, right? So if she stumbled, if she fell, chances are they could lend a hand.
Right.
So you can still be a part of the process. You can still allow them to take risks. And one of the best things about it is that they then really start to understand what their own physical and emotional limits are.
Yes.
And they can start doing those risk assessments. And they will understand, I am capable of scrambling up onto a rock and just being on this unbalanced surface. Whereas if
Right.
they never try, they don't know.
That's right. And they learn to come out of their comfort zone. They don't learn that everything needs to be safe, 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 safe. And with that said, you don't have to put them in ultra risky situations for them to learn that, because you can imagine the skill level of a 2-year-old. The climbing of the rock itself is a difficult skill and risky. I remember when my grandson climbed the wall of our stone, whatever you call it, entry,
Like the break
because I
wall.
live on the water.
Yeah, the
So
break
it's
wall.
like
Yeah.
a stone wall because my house sits higher. And he was following me, and then I couldn't find him. And he was climbing up the stone wall to get up instead of taking the steps. And when he did that, I wasn't like, oh my gosh, and run down there and take him off. I just went back down there in case he needed me. And
Yeah.
that was how he always went up. He never took the
Mhm.
steps. He always went up the wall
Yeah.
after that.
Hmm.
And he's just a climber. And I'm sure many of you listening are climbing. And if you're seeing this is not pee. It's coconut water. So I don't want you to
Oh,
think I'm drinking pee, because it does kind of look like pee
I
on
that
camera.
would not have been where my
Oh, no,
brain first
see?
went.
That's where I go. I'm like, people probably think I'm drinking pee. It's coconut water. Okay, move on.
Welcome to Parenthood, the place where nothing makes sense, everyone has conflicting advice, and nothing you do will ever be right.
Are you sick of feeling guilty about what you do, what you think you should do, whatever you're going to take someone's advice and you do that and that doesn't work, and you feel like everybody has a comment, everybody has an opinion, whether you want it or you don't want it? You open up the internet and all of a sudden the thing you thought was right was wrong.
But we have a secret for you. There's more than one way to be a great parent.
And we are here together working as a team to help you. We've created the podcast, Raising Eyebrows. And this is your weekly dose of sanity in a world of parenting clickbait. So
That's it.
the end.
The end. So I think one thing that is worth discussing is like why we struggle with this so much, right? Because I think a lot of people understand the importance of play, and what are the barriers that sort of keep us from allowing our kids to play with risky or in risky situations. And I think part of it is that fear of judgment and sort of our own internal anxiety, like the two sort of separate pieces. Like one is I feel anxious watching my child climb this because I think, and you do, like, you remember when you had a baby and you were like, I'm going to drop my baby down the stairs. I'm going to, like, you had these
Right.
thoughts
Right.
that were
Because you're
probably
afraid of what could happen.
right.
We do it all the time.
So you see your child climbing up this thing, this ladder, whatever, and you think he's gonna slip and smash his face on the rung of that ladder, and it's gonna be terrible and whatever. Like of course, you think that, but the likelihood of that happening, number one, is really small, and number two, you're right there. And I think we have to sort of separate what makes us feel uncomfortable versus what's actually dangerous, right?
Right.
And then also
Exactly.
having other parents at that playground watching,
Judge you.
right?
And it's a world of judgment out there.
It is a world of judgment, right? And I think the playgrounds have become like safer and, well, I shouldn't even say safer, like less and less exciting, but safer. I don't think because kids are getting more hurt these days than they ever used to, but I think because of like litigation. Like I think because they're worried about getting sued.
Right. I was just going to say that's exactly why, because they get hurt on the playground and somebody gets sued for it.
Right.
And I think they also, it's a pretty stressful world out there for parents, and parents are working and they come home from work. So another thing that is usually associated with play is children being rambunctious and noisy.
Mm-hmm.
And then for your own sanity, you're like, no, we can't play. Just sit and read a book.
Right.
Just
Well,
when they've got to burn energy too.
That's why they used to kick him out of the house.
Yeah.
Get out,
Right.
go play.
That's why I got kicked out. None of you, me and my siblings, go out there, do not come back.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't because my mother didn't love me. She loved us endlessly.
Mhm.
but she needed some sanity time too. But I think in these days, we're so afraid of the outdoors,
Mhm.
the bad people will come, and then we
Mhm.
make our children afraid of the bad people coming, whoever they are, wherever they are, when most of the people out there are strangers, but most are good people,
Yeah.
you know. And then we're afraid too because if they play in the house and they get too wild, I mean, how many times do you hear that from, oh, my kids are so wild. They're like running through the house like crazy people. That it's so noisy. I can't stand it. They've got to stop. They won't sit down.
Right.
They
And
go on and
they're going
on.
to break something, either a bone or
Right.
something in
They're
the
going to
house,
trip
right?
over. Right. Exactly. And what they don't realize is that burning of energy. Yes, it's noisy. Yes, it's fast. Yes, it has risks, but it's also a lot of fun and it will benefit you in the long run because they get tired. They
Mhm.
sleep better, they listen better, all those things when they burn that energy in a positive way and
Mhm.
not in a negative way, like taking a drumstick and just continuously pounding it on a
Right.
counter or the table. You know how that is.
Mhm. And actually, on that note, there's something that I think would be very interesting to our listeners. There were some studies done, oh gosh, it would have been a long time ago. And I don't know if they were very good studies because I remember when I was in medical school, I wanted to do more studies on this. But it was about exercise and the symptoms of ADHD. And what was very interesting was 30 minutes. 30 minutes of moderate activity was the equivalent of a 4-hour dose of Ritalin.
Isn't that
So,
incredible?
so
Love that.
so the symptom scale after having taken a dose of short-acting Ritalin and having moved for 30 minutes, the symptoms were decreased equally,
It's
which I just
amazing.
thought was incredible. So, I mean, this is obviously applies not just to kids with ADHD, but to everyone, to people,
Right.
right? You are
People
better
have to, but
focused,
we
better
are
emotionally
made to
regulated.
move.
Hmm.
Right. We are made to move, and kids have to burn their energy. They have a lot more energy than we have, and it's got to be burned, or
Hmm.
it's gonna burn somehow, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
And that's an incredible. I haven't heard that comparison, and that's great. They need. It's like when schools, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but when they punish kids by taking away recess, you're taking away the one thing that will
Hmm.
get them to focus better.
Hmm.
The one thing they need, a half hour recess or an hour recess, should be an hour, but I don't know how long it is in schools now.
Like
You're
20 minutes.
taking away the benefit that you all will reap from that recess
Hmm.
and punishing them and you because they're not able to burn energy. And then they can't focus. Go back to the ADHD exercise thing. They
Hmm.
can't focus. They can't pay attention. They can't stay on task because they
Yeah.
haven't burned any energy.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's worth it to give your child the ability to do something risky. And
Yeah.
get ready because when they're teenagers, they're wired that way. Why
Yeah.
we all did dumb stuff as teenagers because we're actually wired in our brain to take risks.
Yeah. To push the limits and see what you're capable of and see where the boundaries lie. So definitely important. So when it comes down to it, really, like we're looking at risky play or play in general, but risky play in particular, um, y- yeah, I was going to say you have to. You really should consider um, giving your child opportunities, no matter what their age, to take risks. Because, first of all, that kid is going to say, I was a little bit scared while I was climbing this, but I did it anyway. And that teaches resilience. And that's not something that you can teach them. It just is not. It helps them learn how to manage stress. It lets them learn what to do when there's a conflict with a peer. It lets them know what to do. Like there are so many things that are learned. And it doesn't mean that you can't be there. Maybe you don't hover and say, are you being careful? Are you being careful? Right? You give them a little bit of distance, let them figure it out. And the other piece is if they do fall, give them a second.
Yeah. And don't run to them. Don't
Don't
let
panic.
them just get up on their own.
Ideally, pretend like you didn't even see it,
Right.
right? Because chances are they're just fine. and they'll figure out that they're just fine. But the piece that's important is that learning that they fell and then discovering afterwards, oh, I'm actually okay. That fall was a small thing and I'm actually fine. That is very important, that piece right there. Because if they fall and you go, are you okay? Then they learn that falling is scary.
And they're right. Something's wrong. Something I should be crying at this point. I'm not crying. Maybe I should be crying. And so when you react to it in like a, oh my gosh type of way,
Mhm.
you're teaching them that what just happened was a problem. And now we're going to react. And speaking of resilience, guys, that is the key thing you need when dealing with trauma. The key thing that gets our brains through traumatic times is our ability to be resilient. So let them learn to get up after a fall. Let them learn to look at you and think, oh, where I'm going to cross this, but like even a shaky bridge on a playground can be nerve-wracking, but safe. They're not going to fall. And if they fall to their knees, they get up again.
Yeah.
Let them do it. Let them not. When they reach out their hand, give them a chance to try it
Yeah.
because they're going to learn that they are capable.
And I love that you said that. So if they reach out their hand, right, our instinct is to
Grab it.
help them, right? So one thing that I once heard that I thought was really, really great was try to have, I think you can handle this, or I think you can do this, be something that you say more frequently than be careful, right? So I think you can do it. I think you can handle this. I think you know how to do this. I think you can try, right? Saying things like that instead of, oh, be careful. Are you being
Right.
careful? Are you being cautious? Right.
Yes.
And I
Don't
know
say
that,
be careful all the time.
but that's going to become their inner dialogue, right? I think I can do this. Mom thinks I can
Right.
do this, right? Rather than mom tells me that I need to be careful, which all of a sudden, when someone says, I need to be careful, all of a sudden you're anxious. Why do I need to be careful? I need to be careful. I need
Right. There
to,
must be a
something bad will
reason.
happen if I'm not careful. Whereas
Exactly.
just rephrasing that as, I think you can do this becomes okay. How am I going to do this? Right? It totally
Mom
changes
thinks
the
I
inner
can.
monologue.
Dad thinks I can. They believe in me.
Mhm.
I can believe in myself.
Yeah.
And another superpower word is yet.
Yet. Yes.
Yes.
Hmm.
The power of yet.
Yeah.
You know, Mommy, I can't do this yet.
Yet. Hmm.
Mommy, I'm not good at this yet.
Hmm.
Eventually, if you practice and you work at something, you will always get better.
Hmm.
Progress over perfection. We're not talking about perfection. We're talking about getting better.
Hmm.
So remember that. Add that yet in there
Hmm.
because it just means to keep going,
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yeah. I do love that one as well. And say, I see that. That's okay. We haven't learned this yet.
Right,
Or we're still learning. We're still practicing. We'll be able to do it, just not yet.
right.
Yeah.
Because yet is not a definitive, I can't do this.
Absolutely.
It is action powered.
Yeah.
Keep
And I think,
trying.
yeah, and we talked last time about natural consequences, right? And
Yeah,
how important they are. Because not all natural consequences are bad, right? The consequence of changing up this game meant that somebody else won. Like it's a consequence, right? It's not necessarily a bad one. I
bad
think
one. Right.
yeah, it's just something change, cause, effect. But even if they are bad ones, right? Like so if your kid skins their knee because they were biking too fast, that's something that they've learned that they wouldn't have learned any other way.
Correct. And it's just a skin knee.
Hmm.
And they have to learn when biking to regulate their own speed, to make sure they can see, you
To know
don't,
what their limits are. Yeah.
someone might say, well, why do they have to wear, if we can take risks, why do we have to wear helmets? Well, because you don't want to take stupid risks.
Yeah.
You don't want to take risks that can ultimately kill your child.
Hmm.
Wearing helmets is no different than wearing a seatbelt. So wearing a seatbelt was created to keep you in the car, not out of it.
Hmm.
Wearing a helmet was created to protect your head, not have it break open. I
Hmm.
mean, these are sensible steps in care.
Well, and absolutely. And then you think about it, putting on a helmet, putting on those elbow guards, putting on those knee guards, that allows you to take more
More
risks,
risks. Right.
right? They're
Right.
tools to aid in risky play or protective gear to aid in risky play rather than trying to eliminate risk, because that's not what we're trying to do.
Right. And you don't always stop what's happening. You can alter the safety of it if it's something like like back to when we were talking about dodgeball.
Mm-hmm.
You don't play with a concrete ball. You play with something softer. And in school, there are all kinds of balls that are softer, not just beach balls.
Mm-hmm.
But beach balls work well for toddlers. But still, and they learn all of those 4-year-olds were playing dodgeball, getting hit by balls, getting out, getting back in. Not one of them cried, and every single one of them wanted to play again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
And I know parents thinking, oh, if my kid gets out, they're going to cry. Or if my kid gets hit with a ball, they're going to cry. None of them. And they were hit, they were out, they were in, they were like,
Mm-hmm.
because it's actually fun. And they need to learn that you can have fun doing things.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's not even so much risky play, but like being out in dodgeball, losing a game, it's important too.
Yeah.
So
You can't always win. And then they'll say it's not fair. And remember that fairness for little kids is about disappointment. It's not about really being fair. Of course, it's fair. They're just disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I know my husband is teaching my 6-year-old how to play chess, which I think is, and he's doing really well with it.
Good.
But he won't let him win. He won't let him win. And so what he started doing now is that he'll start the game with a few less pieces, right? So he'll be like, okay, I only get one of these and one of those, and you get all of them. And so he changes it to give Lucas a chance, but he's not going to let him win because that doesn't teach him anything valuable.
Right. Doesn't teach him anything. There's no reason to let a child win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends on what you're playing. And sometimes you play and you play and you play. And being an adult to a child, depending on what you're playing, you know that if you do this, done. And that there's an opportunity for your child to think of a strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So then talk about the strategy. Great thing, like in chess. I mean, God, it's endless strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about, well, what could you do? What are some different ways? I mean, interrupt the game with conversation and learning strategy. All games, even simple games, have strategy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's a great thing for a child to learn how to strategize to come up with a better outcome. They have to do it in life. They learn it in play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
disappointment. Yeah. Well, you always say this. You have to practice your disappointment muscle and your
Yep.
frustration muscle and your risk tolerance muscle and your resilience muscle. Like these are very important skills for kids to have.
we don't want them all to just be happy all the time. They've got to learn all the levels of, participation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
play is a great way to learn it.
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard this before, especially if any of you guys follow Dr. Becky, who's great. But our job is not to prevent or avoid these uncomfortable feelings. Our job is to help our child navigate them once they happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because they're going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If you avoid them through their childhood, you are going to raise a very unhappy adult. You can't avoid disappointment. You can't avoid things not going their way. It's going to happen. And play is one of the best ways to do it because it will not always go their way. And that's okay. People take turns. You don't always get to go first. You don't always get to have the blue ball. You don't always get to win. It's a great life lesson to play.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yep.
All the best lessons. And I would honestly argue that playing team sports, like being a competitive athlete, like that I learned more about teamwork, dedication, skill, spatial awareness, like everything from cooperative play.
Yeah.
And at a higher level, it doesn't really look like you're playing that, like it's not play anymore. But it's a game. I was playing a game at a competitive level. Like, so this is what it's transformed into because sports is play
Yes, it is.
at a
That's all
higher
it is.
level, right?
Yep. And there's incredible social aspects learned
Hmm.
through team play.
Yeah.
There's a lot learned through individual play, but there's a whole lot learned through team play too. Even competition,
Hmm.
non-competition, there's still, when you are playing with other kids, depending on your age level, there is always something to be learned.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
what are you going to play today?
Yeah.
That's what we
Just you.
want you to answer.
Maybe with your kids, maybe not. Maybe it's just you. We don't know.
Yep. But you want to exercise, best way to exercise, go outside and play with your kids. Play tag, run around, play ball. You'll
Hmm.
burn lots of calories. And
Hmm.
it's more fun than like riding an exercise bike,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
think.
Going on a treadmill and not going anywhere. Whew, that's
Yeah.
tough for me.
Or go on a bike ride with your kids and then you'll be on a bike,
Hmm.
actually going places. And
Absolutely.
they'll gain an appreciation for exercise and for play because
Yeah.
it's one in the same.
Hmm.
Movement play is exercise. Dancing is exercise. It's
Hmm.
all exercise. And when I ask kids, are you exercising right now? If they're like swinging around or wiggling, they'll say no because they think it's different. It's not different.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
You ever wonder, like, kids have so much more energy. They just have so much more energy than you do. But do you ever wonder if maybe the reason that we don't have as much energy is because we stopped playing?
Yes, there's a meme like that. You don't
Yeah.
grow old because you stop playing. That's not working right. You stop playing and grow old. Something like that. Something
Yeah.
has to do with that.
Yeah.
Don't
I
stop
think
playing.
I think if we didn't stop playing, we'd probably all be in a lot better shape.
Yes, we would. Yes, we would. Remember, you're only young once, but you can be immature forever.
I like that.
That's what I live by.
That's good. So just to recap, I think play is important because that is how kids learn. Like, it's how people learn. If
Yeah,
it's fun, if you are emotionally invested, if it's a competition, whatever the case may be, if you are invested in it, you will learn more, you will retain more, no matter your age. So play becomes super important. And there are so many life skills that are learned through play, especially for kids. But kids in general, that is how they learn.
that
They
is
don't really learn any other
absolutely.
way.
That's right. That's how they
Mhm.
learn and retain. And
Yeah.
they learn all kinds of different things.
Yeah. And you can
Play is
modify
not
risk.
silly.
Yeah.
What can be silly, but it's
Right.
learning and important.
It is. And risk doesn't necessarily mean dangerous, and you can modify the risk to your child, but I would be cautious to say, is this actually dangerous or am I just uncomfortable?
Right.
Right? And give them a
What's
few
the
more
worst that can
opportunities.
happen? They fall down, so
Hmm.
they get up.
Hmm. Yeah. So try your best to give them a little space to explore, to experiment, to take risks. You can be there after they fall and see how they navigate that.
Right. Because you'll be amazed. They
Hmm.
actually will navigate it if you're not like right on top of them.
Hmm.
Sometimes they just get up and keep going and they don't even whimper.
Yeah. Oh my God. So my son the other day, hilarious, was walking through the playground and some kid was on the monkey bars and literally swung and kicked him in the head.
My gosh.
And I didn't know this happened at school. And after school, he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry, my sunglasses are broken." I was like, "What happened, buddy?" Because some kid kicked him in the head. I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine."
What did that learn? That learned don't walk in front of people swinging on
Right.
monkey
I was like, "Oh, so
bars.
did we learn
Like
something?" He's just
swing.
like, "Yeah."
Maybe look where you're going.
Hey, look where you're going, right? But he was completely unfazed
Right.
because I mean, I'm sure if he got kicked hard enough, it would have been a different story. But
Sounds like
he just
pretty hard kick if it broke his glass.
well, they're cheap sunglasses, let's be honest.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, he got a kick to the head, and he was fine.
Right.
And
Whereas many parents would have made a huge to do over it and they would have like,
right,
whereas your parent, like they would have been reprimanding kids back and forth for the whole thing when it was an accident.
hmm,
You
yeah,
know, sometimes things are just an accident and it's nobody's fault.
yeah,
And just
absolutely.
let it ride
Well,
out the storm.
I've said that before. When a kid's kicked his like at the playground because he doesn't focus. He's got ADHD. He's not focused. So if a kid hits him and they apologize, I'm like, no, 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 that was his fault.
Right.
That
Right.
was his fault. He wasn't looking
Take
where he was going.
responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And they'll be like, oh, well, I'm sorry anyways. I was like, don't be sorry. He needed to learn that lesson.
Right. Right. You can be sorry you got injured, but
Hmm.
you don't apologize for taking the fault if it
Yeah.
wasn't your fault.
Yeah. Anyway, neither here nor there.
All right, guys. Well, I hope this was helpful. I hope you'll go out and play with your kids. I'm all about playing with kids. Don't just sit and watch on a bench. Actually get in there. And you don't have to get in there for everything. Sometimes little tunnels and sliding boards are very small. But, do your best to play with your kids and around your kids and not hover around your kids. Give them some breathing air and some room to move. And they'll have a blast and they'll burn energy and they sleep well and they're nicer and they're more cooperative and they're off their screens and there's so many benefits. Can't even tell you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing another episode of Raising Eyebrows. I hope this cleared some stuff up for you. I hope you share this out. If you found value, I will try to speak in a sentence.
Having a hard time.
Slower and faster. And leave us a comment, questions, whatever, reach out. We're here to help. And we wish you a wonderful, playful day.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. We're so glad you were here. Thank you so much for joining us, and we truly hope you'll be here next time.
And if you are looking for a little dose of sanity on any other topic, please feel free to let us know. Leave us a comment, and we will be sure to bust that myth too.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.